Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another video. So if the chasm between how the real royals behave and the ex or faux royals behave wasn't clear enough, Catherine the Princess of Wales was at Royal Marsden Hospital for a visit, as she's now joint patron alongside Prince William, and that is where she had received treatment throughout last year. Her visit highlighted all the rights and none of the wrongs when it comes to interacting with the public and doing a publicized visit. She was gracious and respectful and, of course, genuine. Her authenticity is really what comes through because it is just that, authentic. You don't just get the sense that this is how she really is in real life, it's very obvious that this is just her. And that is something that the Meg simply cannot do because she is so fake. She's clearly always acting. You know, the people who are just bad actors that you've seen in films before and you're like, I'm just not buying this. This seems like they're almost like thinking about the camera in front of their face and trying to make sure they look perfect. That's how the Meg looks 100% of the time. Catherine shared her experience with patients in a really disarming and natural way. Connecting to people is not something that can be faked because especially in person, you can feel it immediately. It's almost like somebody is only halfway paying attention to what you're saying is how it feels. But she did share happy news that she is now in remission and looking forward to, moving past it in some ways, at least mentally and emotionally. Being able to move past it is definitely the right thing. And so it's really lovely to get to see her out and just taking it slow, getting back into the engagements that she is so naturally good at. Probably because she understands that it's all just bigger than herself, there to give her time and attention to people for however many few hours it is that she's there. She's really seems to be very much focused on the people and kind of ignoring everything else, the hustle and bustle and the cameras and whatnot. She's just trying to connect to people, and especially at this visit, that seemed very evident. In other news, Harry was able to cancel his trip back to the UK because he settled his court case. We have a video discussing that. But before that, when he was contemplating a visit, because he was supposed to be coming back for this trial to move forward. So he was planning a trip back to the UK, and the Met Commissioner had said that it was basically difficult dealing with Harry and trying to find a way to accommodate Harry's absurd security demands. In a news article, he said that they were trying really hard to find officers to provide Harry the extra protection he so desires, but they are so short-staffed that it's a challenge, and that despite repeated requests to Harry for him to use the private entrance to the courthouse, which provides him greater security and privacy, but also reduces the need for an extra amount of police to be stationed in front of the courthouse, have not been respected, that Harry insists on using the front public entrance anyway, despite police suggestions to use the private side entrance. It was also revealed that Harry has repeatedly turned down staying at Buckingham Palace despite being offered for this visit and previous visits, which would afford him royal protection officers where he's staying while he was staying at the residence. So these bits of news were coming out before the settlement came around because his visit was coming up at the time. And this development really revealed nothing good for Harry. Even though it's kind of buried in the news cycle now with news of the settlement, this is still really important because it reveals the difficult, petulant, hypocritical, just defiant vibes that Harry is serving the people of the UK, the police, and his family. In fact, this is exclusively negative. His ego-driven need to avoid feeling like he's downgraded himself compels him to seek out and demand greater security than necessary. When solutions are offered to him, he doesn't want them, like staying at Buckingham Palace, for example, or entering the courthouse from the side private door. This probably reminds you of toxic people you know in real life. Those types of people who complain to you about a problem, and when you brainstorm a solution or think of an idea that would solve it, they come up with an excuse why that solution won't work or it's not good enough, or they segue into a new problem like, yeah, but that might solve this, but then there's this other problem also, or next, or I'm also worried about this. These people are kind of like problem-seeking marathoners. They will never neglect the opportunity to identify yet another issue and frame it as a complaint or an insult to themselves. There's no fixing anything with these types of people. They will complain about this and then leapfrog to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing forever more. They're malcontents. Nothing will ever be good enough. Nothing will ever be fine. Homeostasis is not a thing for them. They have settled into a pattern of behavior that is very problem and complaint oriented, and it's very difficult for them to focus on what is going right, see the glass half full for once, but they aren't aware of it. And that's very much what this demonstrates Harry and Meghan as being like. This trait that Harry has is exposed here. Harry could have easily put out a release last time or this time that he was grateful to be offered solutions, or that he was offered help, or that he was offered advice, or a place to stay, or strategies to keep himself safer. But he doesn't, which poses the question, why? Why not give credit that people are trying to address his concerns and problems and complaints? People are trying to find police staff to give him the security he thinks he needs. People are offering him a place to stay. People are offering him solutions to help keep him more private, like he complains about. But he doesn't give that credit because it doesn't suit his narrative, but also because it's just challenging for him to see it that way, evidently. Because it's not exactly how he wants it to be, then he thinks it's not worth anything at all, or because it's not enough, then it's not worth understanding. He's not compromising at all, basically, is what this reveals. But also, in other news, Harry and Meghan posted about Meta, who reversed their fact-checking program. Now, whether you agree with that or not is neither here nor there. What's peculiar about this development is Harry and Meghan's actual position on facts, truth, and censorship in reality is in contrast to the position they attempt to take in this post and other things they've said. Their words and their actions are not simpatico. They communicate disagreement with eliminating fact-checking from Meta, but in turn peddle misinformation and are outraged at facts reported about them. When the media has reported facts, like reports have come out that Meghan is difficult to work with, her employees are leaving in droves, and have come out and given interviews about how challenging it is to work for her, or that she has made people cry, including Catherine, Princess of Wales. These sorts of things are facts that Harry and Meghan trampled on people's burned down homes. But Harry and Meghan get angry at those facts being reported because they don't paint them in a good light. Perhaps they should stop doing stupid stuff. They also thrust misinformation out into the universe through Spare and interviews and other projects. They have lied repeatedly. It's on paper. They've even lied to courts before, been accused of destroying evidence. Direct lies to the courts that Meghan had to issue an apology to the court for lying with her own mouth. Harry and Meghan aim to censor the press in their favor exclusively. In practice, manifests as them criticizing the press that take a critical tone or publish critical opinion pieces, or at them being offended at articles that are not fawning but rather straightforward and factual. They don't want the readers to have the opportunity to decide for themselves whether the facts of Harry and Meghan's activities are good or bad. The Sussexes want the articles framed in the positive at all times, while simultaneously claiming that fact-checking shouldn't be eliminated. You can't have it both ways. Contradictory ideas here. Or hypocrisy. One set of rules for me and another for thee. If Harry and Meghan are so concerned with fact-checking, then they should not have a track record of lying in order for their position to carry any weight. If they care about fact-checking staying and media and whatnot being true and trusted, then they shouldn't be cherry-picking what articles and publications and news should be allowed to be reported and in what tone. That's not how journalism works. What I find most interesting about this bit of news, though, is that Meghan is mere weeks into her return to social media, which in and of itself feels very hypocritical. She and Harry campaign against social media a lot, speaking almost exclusively about the potential harms, but now have struck out to profit off social media for their own gain. It's beyond a conflict of interest. It muddies their messaging and undermines their stance in anything that they say on the matter, because now people can always question, well then why you use social media and leverage it to your own financial gain if you are so concerned with it and wish to compel those in charge of social media to do more to protect people? Shouldn't you be boycotting social media platforms altogether? Using your influence to take it elsewhere, take your business away from social media so that social media isn't gaining from you being on it when you think social media is making mistakes and being irresponsible? And now that they are eliminating fact checking, the big question is whether the Meg will quit Instagram again, or if she will stay despite disagreeing with the platform. Harry and Meghan very much have made a reputation for themselves that it's kind of an all or nothing situation. Either you give me all the security I want and think I need, or else none of it is good enough. Either you give me the exact place I want to stay, or else none of it is good enough. Either you give completely positive press coverage or you are completely bad and wrong, and it's not good enough. Therefore, this social media company, Meta, owns, I think they own both Facebook and Instagram. I don't know. I don't do social media. I actually do stay off Instagram and Facebook. So for Harry and Meghan, though, either Meta is a responsible social media platform that can be trusted and is not making mistakes and allowing harms to come to our children and vulnerable populations, including the elderly. And therefore, Harry and Meghan can be on Meta's platforms and not be hypocritical. Or Harry and Meghan cannot be on Meta's platforms because Meta supports ways in which harms can occur. Misinformation, disinformation, and harms to vulnerable populations are occurring on Meta, and therefore, Harry and Meghan should not be on their platforms. It cannot be both ways in this scenario. It just can't. And the fact that they are on those Meta platforms, or Meghan is on Instagram, for profit. It is a for-profit situation. She is trying to use it to market her projects, her terrible projects that no one wants to see, but she's trying to use Meta for financial gain. Therefore, this is just some shady stuff. If she does stay on Meta, it'll be no surprise to anyone paying any attention because Harry and Meghan are notoriously, flagrantly hypocritical with many things, including care for the environment, taking jets everywhere all the time, excessive amounts of cars, and hypocritical with privacy, revealing private things about other people, but caring about their own privacy, just not anybody else's. And here with social media, caring about social media and telling them what they should be doing, but still using it for themselves. Honestly, for Harry and Meghan, though, the irony is that an absence of fact-checking would actually help them in many ways because they lie so frequently that they themselves would be fact-checked all of the time if fact-checking would have stayed. But do you think she will keep Instagram or do you think she will be leaving it? Leaving it would show her to have a bit of a spine and be standing up for something that she thinks is right or wrong. However, but leave it in the comments what you think she'll do. I personally think she's going to stay because it benefits her at the moment. So I think she's going to stay, and that petulant, angry little statement is just going to be lost in the wind like everything else they say and do. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Have a happy day. Bye.